Dis-moi pour qui Vodouisant yo divisé, religion mal documentée, et rituel yo aussi varié. Dis-moi pour qui yo dit c'est religion fin noire, nous dit c'est religion la paix, mais n'utiliser pour faire mon paix. Colon yo te reconnaître Vodou c'est fausse nous. Yo fait mauvais campagne contre religion nous. Yo impose un sac pas assemblé avec nous. Pour yo faire une vindou pour contrôler nous.
C'est force nous, c'est croyance nous, pas quitter le tomber, c'est l'essence nous, ou qui doit pas qu'aimer, mais faut respecter.
Dis-moi pour qui, yo marché dit nous c'est Satan, pas effort pour nous défendre, pour sa femme ta gain tête ensemble.
Dis-moi pour qui Vodou a pas ouvri l'école, chaque serviteur a gué pour col, c'est catholique toujours idole.
Colon te reconnaître Vodou, c'est fausse nous.
Aïe 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 aïe.
Un mauvais campagne contre religion nous.
Aïe 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 aïe.
Yo impose un sac, pas assemblé avec nous.
Aïe 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 aïe.
Pour contrôler nous. Fuck nous, ini nous.
Aïe 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 aïe, comme c'est force nous,
c'est croyance nous.
pas quitter le tomber, c'est l'essence nous, ou qui doit pas qu'aimer, mais faut respecter.
Dis-moi pour qui, ou comme un beau toujours dans le ciel, y'en a dit l'autre mot, mais coup fiel. Unification nous essentielle.
Dis-moi pour qui nous tout pas qu'à kembe même livre, nous pas kembe yon marche à suivre, la couille tombe en dérive.
Nous prendrons un chemin, sorti d'Aromène, dans toute route n'a présité, prière Guinée.
Esprit yo pas de la guerre, non chimère. Nous c'est petite l'Afrique Guinée. Louga ou t'es emporté par Européen.
AYIBOBO, awo shonago, awo, 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 awo shonago, c'est Vodou nous. AYIBOBO, awo shonago, awo, 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 awo shonago, c'est Vodou nous. Quand je n'en fous, oh, 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 oh. Awo, 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 awo shonago, c'est Vodou nous. Quand je n'en fous, oh, 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 oh. Awo, 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 awo shonago, c'est Vodou nous. Entraînant fort.
With the Yoruba system now. Now the Yoruba, like the Hausa traditional system, practice monarchical system, a centralized government. At the center of the administration is the king. Let's take the old Oyo Empire as a case study. We can see from here, the king is at the center of the administration. But one thing that is unique about the Yoruba system is that the Yoruba system is democratic. Democratic in the sense that the king could be questioned, could be called to order. Let's look at the administrative system. At the center of administration, we have the Alaafin of Oyo. Alaafin of Oyo. Alaafin of Oyo is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, the commander of the government. And after Alaafin of Oyo, we have the Council of Obas, the Council of Kingmakers. We call them Oyomesi. Oyomesi is headed by Bashoru, and the Council of Sheepmakers comprises of 7 different sheepmakers. Also, after Oyomesi, we have the secret court. The secret court. After the secret court, we have the bailiffs, Ajele. Now these bailiffs are in charge of small villages. They are in charge of the small villages. And the last one, we have the army. The army are referred to as Esho in Yoruba language. Esho. So all they do is that in case of war, in case any other society wants to invade the Yoruba land, these people are the one who will always go out to fight the war on behalf of the society. And that unit is headed by Are Ona Kakanfo. And in Yoruba tradition, the Are Ona Kakanfo is meant not to lose any war. In case he loses a war, he is to commit suicide. He is not expected to come back to the society. All right. Now let's back to the democratic system of the Yoruba society. Like I told you the other time, the Alaafin is not a dictator. His authority is subject to ratification by the Oyomesi and Ogboni. So if the Kabiyesi, the Alaafin, becomes too powerful, it can be removed from office. And how can it be removed from office? It can be told to open the calabash. So once he opens the calabash, it will commit suicide, it will die. Or it can be sent on exile. So the Alaafin is not too powerful. It's subject to the other organs of government in the old Oyo Empire.
Did you know in Haiti there's something called grazed cacao? It's an oil some Haitian men believe can make their eggplant grow. And the way they use it is even crazier. They don't just put it on randomly, no, they wait for the full moon. Because according to the old belief, that's when the oil is strongest. So you'll hear Haitian men saying things like, "Bro, wait till the moon is full. That's when grazed cacao really works." Some will massage it on their eggplant like it's magic lotion, hoping to wake up the next morning with a bigger blessing. Of course, nobody knows if it actually works, but the belief is strong. And if you ask a Haitian man about it, he'll swear he knows someone who saw results. Haiti has some wild traditions, and grazed cacao under a full moon is definitely one of the funniest ones. If you want more real Haitian stories they never talk about, follow this page for more.
Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Voodoo Day. Inspired by National Voodoo Day in Benin and led by local Black community members. New Orleans International Voodoo Day is a day of collective remembrance and spiritual reparation that is preceded by a symposium and includes a procession to monuments at the sites of slavery in New Orleans, ritual to account for and seek absolution for the city and the country's participation in the institution of slavery, homage to those ancestors who suffered through and survived the transatlantic slave trade, and honor and appreciation for the achievements of those who came out of this oppression. 2 days of education, creative expression, elevation, cultural exchange, and above all, healing. Through authentic voodoo traditions handed down through generations, we offer a path to healing from the ongoing ramifications of slavery and racism in the United States. And we continue to invite your continued support, participation, donation, sponsorship, visitation in the International New Orleans Voodoo Day, our third annual International New Orleans Voodoo Day. We invite you to visit us at www.voodooday.org, www.vodouday.org for more coming information and continuous updates about this growing and powerful legacy and event. And we're certainly appreciative and thankful for your continued support and participation in our 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time weeknight podcast. We certainly are grateful and appreciative of those of you in social media, and certainly those who show up and participate in the live chat. Greetings and salutations to you and yours, beloved. I believe there's session hyphen. We certainly appreciate you, and Mambo, Sally Ann Glass, we certainly appreciate your continued support. AYIBOBO to Mon, to you as well. And I will be unmuting my beloved co-host momentarily, the Queen Mother, Sister Toni Val Martinez, community activist and community Queen Mother, the beloved Elder Reggie Greensoul, leader and founder of Shrine of the White Cloth, faithful and committed member and co-administrator of NOIVD, to our beloved Joshua Nylan Tanner, armor bearer, wild man, first priest, House of the Divine Prince, also initiated member of the Source and faithful committed member of NOIVD, and our beloved Bianca Johnson Plessy, Queen Mother Bianca Johnson Plessy, faithful and committed member and initiated member of the Source and committee member of NOIVD. Again, we certainly are thankful for your continued support, dedication to participating in this 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time podcast. And on tonight, we want to discuss the living power of herbs and plants across the so-called Black Atlantic, if you will. My beloved brothers and sisters, children of the ancestors, hear me now. Let us gather in this circle of memory, in the circle of power, in the circle of green life. For today, I speak of herbs, the plants, the roots, the leaves, those silent companions that have walked with humanity since the dawn of time. They are not mere vegetation. They are not simply food or medicine. They are spirits. They are teachers. They are bridges between the worlds. In the beginning, the red earth of Africa, herbs were never separate from the sacred. And among the Yoruba, the Fon, the Ewe, the Akan, the Congo, the Zulu, every people knew that plants carried Ashe, the divine force, the living energy that emanates and animates all things. The leaves of Ewe were gathered with prayer, never casually. The bark of trees was stripped with offerings, never greedily. And the roots were dug with respect, for beneath the soil lies the womb of Mother Earth. And in Fa divination, the practitioners speak of herbs as living allies. Each plant has its own orisha, its own spirit, its own destiny, its own loa. And the bitter leaves cleanses, the sweet leaves heal, the thorn protects. And so the African priest, healer, and diviner became botanist, pharmacist, and theologian all at once. Understand this. In Africa, there was no division between medicine and magic. The healer knew that illness was both physical and spiritual. A fever might come from infection, yes, but it might also come from imbalances, from broken taboos, from spirits disturbed. And thus, herbs were prepared with chants, with drumming, with sacrifice. The leaf was boiled, but also sung to. The root was crushed, but also prayed over. The smoke was inhaled, but also invoked. Then came the ships of the Middle Passage and the survival of this green knowledge, the change, the crossing of the Atlantic, the tearing of families, the scattering of nations. Yet, even in bondage, the people carried memory. They carried songs of herbs. They carried whispers of leaves. They carried the knowledge that the green world could heal, protect, and resist. And on plantations, enslaved Africans sought out familiar plants or their closest cousins. They recognized the bitter taste of wormwood, the cleansing power of sage, the protective strength of garlic. They saw in the New World's flora echoes of Africa's sacred pharmacy. And so they adapted. They made new alliances with new plants. The spirits of Africa met the spirits of the Americas. And in Brazil, the Yoruba became Candomblé. In Cuba, they became Santeria. In Haiti, they became Voodoo. In Suriname, they became Winti. In each of these lands, herbs remained central. In Brazil, the leaves of Jerima and Aruda became sacred. In Cuba, the herbas were gathered for limpieza, for cleansing, for offerings to the Orisha. In Haiti, the feuilles were used in baths and teas and ceremonies to call the Loa. The healer, the Ogan, the Mambo, the Curinander all knew that plants were not passive. They were active participants in ritual. They were mediators between human and divine. In the West Indies, in the Caribbean, across Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, the islands, African herbal knowledge fueled and fused with indigenous Carib and Arawak wisdom, and with European folk magic. Thus was born Obia, bush medicine, Shango, and countless local traditions. The Cerasee vine became a bitter tonic for cleansing the blood. The guinea hen weed became protection against evil, and the pimento leaf became both spice and sacred smoke. In the Caribbean, herbs were not only for healing, they were for resistance. Maroon communities, runaway slaves, used herbs to survive in the mountains, to heal the wounds of battle, to poison oppressors, to protect themselves from capture. The green world became a weapon of liberation. And in New Orleans, and then we arrive at the mouth of the Mississippi, in the city of New Orleans. Here, African, Native American, French, Spanish, and Caribbean traditions met and mingled. Here, voodoo took root in new soil. The voodoo queen, the conjure doctor, the root worker, all knew the language of herbs. They spoke of gree bags and juju, filled the roots and leaves for love, for luck, for protection. They brewed teas of sassafras, of elder, of mint, of mugwort. They burned incense of sage, of frankincense and myrrh, of pine. They laid powders at doorsteps, powders made of crushed herbs to ward off enemies or draw prosperity. And in Congo Square, in the back streets, in the bayous, herbs were alive with spirit. They were used in ritual baths, in candle work, in offerings to the Loa, in prayers to the saints. The green would become the bridge between Africa and America, between the living and the dead, between the oppressed and the free. What is the lesson of all of this? It is that herbs are not simply tools. They are allies. They are kin. They are embodiments of divine energy. To pluck a leaf is to enter into relationship. To brew a tea is to awaken a spirit. To burn a root is to send a prayer into the invisible. African traditions teach us that plants are not silent. They speak, they teach, they heal, they protect, they resist. From Africa to the Americas, from the Caribbean to New Orleans, the story of herbs is the story of survival. It is a story of adaptation. It is a story of resilience. Even when languages were lost, herbs spoke. Even when names were forgotten, plants remembered. Even when rituals were forbidden, leaves carried power. Thus, the green world became the continuity of tradition. It became the living archive of African spirituality. It became the silent witness to centuries of struggle and triumph. And today, in the 21st century, the power of herbs continues. In voodoo ceremonies, leaves are still gathered with prayer. In hoodoo practice, roots are still carried for protection. In candomblé, baths of herbs are still given for cleansing. In Santeria, offerings of plants are still made to the Orisha. And in New Orleans, the tradition of gree-gree, of herbal baths, of root work still thrives. The city breathes with the scent of sage, of basil, of rosemary, of pine. The ancestors smile, but their knowledge has not been lost. And in my closing, let us honor the herbs. Let us honor the plants. Let us honor the roots, the leaves, the flowers, the seeds. They are not only medicine, they are not only magic. They are memory. They are resistance. They are survival. They are the living breath of Africa across the seas. And as long as the green world endures, so too will the traditions of our ancestors. So too will the power of voodoo, of hoodoo, of juju, of obia, of santeria and candomblé. So too will the voice of the plants, whispering in the wind, singing in the leaves, healing in the roots. My beloved brothers and sisters, children of the ancestors, may the herbs bless you. May the plants protect you. May the roots empower you. May the leaves guide you. And may the spirit of the green world walk with you always. And as I invite my beloved co-host, Queen Mother Sister Toni Martinez, to unmute and come on in, Elder Reggie Green Soap, please unmute and come on in. Brother Joshua Nylan Tanner, please unmute and come on in. And my beloved Queen Mother Bianca Johnson Plessy, and share your stories, your experiences, your recipes, the herbs, the plants, roots, trees, the organic material that is the very empowerment of our lives and our survival. Come on in. How you doing?
How you doing? How's everyone in the audience and on the illustrious panel? Good evening. I have a lot of herbs. The ones I end up using the most is bay leaves, because I can write out what I want on my bay leaf and burn it, and what I wanted to do, whatever candle I wanted to do. And cinnamon. I use cinnamon a lot because in my relationships, they were often very argumentative. There's a lot of fussing and fighting. So I would put the cinnamon on to boil, and that would calm down my husband. And virtually, I found out it calmed down everybody. And I think about it around the holidays when people are using a lot of cinnamon to bake with. I think that's why people be so happy to go by each other's house, and the holidays have a different feel because all these herbs and spices are being used and people don't even realize it, what it's doing to them, like cinnamon, like sage, in your dressing and on your bird. Whatever kind you're gonna fix, sage and all of that stuff. You have nothing but the smells from all the food that's being cooked in those herbs and spices that we use, and they have powers that the people using them really don't even know about.
No.
Do you use a lot of herbs, Sister Bianca?
Yeah, good evening, one. I use a lot of different herbs, but the one that I mainly like to use is more of a flower. And a lot of people probably don't really think about it, but I love to use rose. And the reason why I like to use rose because to me I look at rose as a universal. Rose could be used so many different ways. Um, it's like I guess depends on the different type of color of roses, but when I use rose, I like to use it as like a healing, protection, or self-love. And also roses with the thorns on them, just like what Divine Prince was talking about. The thorns on the rose associated with defense. Also like dealing with emotional balance, luck, and peace, and heart healing for your heart chakras. But rose can also be used to drink as a tea too. It's like so many different benefits with roses. So rose could be used in a spiritual way for protection, self-love, and peace, but it also could be used in the healing way if you drink it as a tea because it also could help with um like emotional release and working with like your inner confidence, good for meditation, and it's also act as a portal, like portal for awakening your heart chakras for people who work in those type of meditation fields. Um and also I can use it as a dry rose because when rose do die, like they don't really die, like they dry out, but they still stay in their own physical form. So sometimes I like to hang them, like hang them in doorways, depends on the color of them, to kind of like help remove some of the negative energy out the house. Or it can also be like inviting, like you could also invite good energy and happiness and prosperity into your home, depends on the color roses. And the reason why I look at rose as a beautiful flower plant to work with because when they dry out, they don't really lose their form. So I look at it as it's a powerful symbol, but it's also strength and it's also it still have like the ability to find beauty in all phases of life, no matter how the rose be alive or die. So that's how I look at rose. Um and rose can also be used in like spiritual baths, spiritual cleansing. You can make rose oil. You can also use it in like face steam, like your facial steam and like body benefits. But I know rose is a popular thing that a lot of people like to use in beauty and love. But I also like to use it in other different spiritual things also. And then after the rose, it's another one that I like to use is the buckeye. The buckeye nuts that fall from the tree, but it's like in the green. It looks like a green spike, but when you crack it open, it's a buckeye nut in it. And my grandma used to give us a lot of when we was little. They used to fall from the tree, but she told us that they for like good luck and protection. But I also know that she told me it was like mainly a Native American tradition. To them, it
Yeah.
resembles like a deer eye, which symbolize like power, um, intuition, and sometimes they carry them as talisman. Um, to ward off like negative energy and stuff. So I just remember my grandma used to always give me and my cousin like a bunch of buckeye nuts and say, "Hey, put them in your pockets or wear them around like a necklace and jewelry. This is going to be for good luck or prosperity or anything like that." And also help you ground yourself in connection with the nature. So those are the two things that I kind of like to use.
Yeah.
And Brother Joshua, I'm quite sure you use a lot of herbs.
Yes, yes, indeed. I do. I do. I like to. I like to approach the things that we take from out of the ground in a very sacred manner. So yeah, I do. I kind of that's what we have and that's what we stand on. That's our foundation. And a lot of it, a lot of what we know in terms of medicine, in terms of herbs, in terms of the healing of these things. A lot of this we have to understand that we have been stripped of that knowledge throughout time because of, you know, because of societies that we live in terms of how they wanted to control and manipulate our society, the societies that we've have come out of and come into here in America. But I'm saying this to say that it, in terms of what you just mentioned, the Buckeye, in terms of being a that is definitely an American Indian Native um, tradition, um, along with, I mean, here in America, we had many different societies and cultures of people here, like the Gullah, the Seminole, you have the Creek, the Yamasee, and you have the Iroquois, and you have the Mississippian mound building society that was here, that was all utilizing medicine, sacred medicine that is still here and is still in the ground. And if you travel in certain places, you can actually see it coming out of the ground, like in the country, where or in like certain parks, national parks. Actually, I remember when I was up in Poverty Point, when I came from Sundance this year from South Dakota. I actually came home with a couple of bundles of wild sage from off the land, off the reservation up there, that was just coming out of the ground. It was so much in abundant. I just loaded up. The chief just told me to grab what I can and go. He said, "Man, you can take whatever you you can hold, because we have so much." And that I stopped in Poverty Point, and it was actually that is another mound building society. I mean, site up there in I forgot the name of that town. It's a small town that's up there in the northeastern portion of Louisiana, um, close to Yazoo, right off the um, that is the Pearl River. And we I stopped there and I saw a bunch of stuff just coming out of the ground, like fruits, berries, nuts. And I actually talked to the archaeologists there, and I was asking them, I said, "You guys know that there's fruits and food still coming out of this ground from like 3,000, that site's been in existence for over 3,000 years." So I just feel like it, in terms of how we take in these medicines and how we learn about these medicines. Our ancestors and the ancestors before us, they had a very close relationship with that and understood the ins and outs of it. Used the barks of trees to for healings, and boiled certain things, and they knew how to extract this stuff in a way where it was like second nature to them. And I feel like that's something that we can definitely learn more about. I'm still learning myself, but I'm definitely taking the approach of understanding the sacredness of the medicine and trying to understand the people and the culture that those medicines are coming from, to really get an understanding of how to utilize the medicine. So I'm definitely using sage and other things, simple things to burn and stuff like that, and rosemary and things to wash with and for spiritual baths. But I'm definitely learning and absorbing more of that information at this point than utilizing um, medicine so much.
I know Elder Reggie use a lot.
Blessings, everyone. Sister Toni, Divine Prince, Brother Joshua, Sister Bianca,
Yeah.
and the collective audience. Sister Toni, it's kind of weird in a way, because I do divine, but as a diviner, most of the diviners, I'm gonna go back to Africa for a moment. Most of the diviners there works with a herbalist. A lot of the herbalists don't divine. What the herbalists do is go in spirit and work with the plants. And
Hmm.
so I inquired about, how do you know what plant to use on a person? And the way they do it, there's I guess this is an alternative form of diagnosis called iridology. They look in your eyes, and they can read from your iris,
in the eyes, and they could tell what is off balance within the body. And so let's say they see something from the lungs or the kidneys. They know what particular, over the years, similar to what Brother Joshua was talking about, they know what herbs are associated with what body function. And then they'll work from that perspective to help heal the person. Because as people say, herbs are your medicine is herbs. So herbs heal, they feed, and they do a plethora of other things. So with me, yeah, I learned a lot about the herbs, but I was trying to learn it from an herbalist perspective. And so I just wasn't messing with it just randomly like that.
Like the herbalist. So is it like the diviner and the herbalist get together? The diviner tells the herbalist what the problem is, and the herbalist comes up with the medicine.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The herbalist comes up on what particular plant or what 2 or 3 plants you put together to help heal. Even when we are talking this in perspective of voodoo, hoodoo, and the ATRs, it still worked that way. Even our forefathers used it that way from an herbalist perspective.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well, we coming to a close in our time. I want to turn it over to the Divine Prince so that he could thank our listening audience on our other platforms. And then he'll turn it over to Elder Reggie to do our announcements and final words of wisdom. All right, beloved, take it away.
We're always appreciative of all of you who listen and participate by way of the various social media platforms where we could be reached. Our various Facebook profiles and pages and groups. LinkedIn, certainly we're thankful for our LinkedIn listenership and participation. The YouTube audience, the Twitter X audience, and we're also thankful and appreciative of those who come in and listen by way of Instagram. Elagunda, Hosu, we certainly appreciate you. I am Charlie Elliott. Thank you so much for coming through. Be Royal, we certainly do appreciate you. Odagwu lives forever. Card Zees, we certainly appreciate the both of you. Ashley Nicole, 730, thank you for coming through. 318 Stephen, thank you for joining us. I am Siren Empress. Thank you for coming through. Lisa Lady Cake, thank you for coming through. Leah Tipton, greetings and salutations. Nakia Raj, thank you for coming through. Sheena Sunshine, Anna Spanish, thank you for coming through. Sonder Nay, we certainly are thankful and appreciative of you. I am Sir Moshi, thank you for coming through. Master Richie FBG, we appreciate you for coming through and for your love of voodoo. And Mario Theme, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you for coming through. And we look forward to meeting you here Monday through Friday, U.S. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time, on a platform near you. All is a blessing.
Yes. Advertisement of the upcoming events. Thank you, Divine Prince. Our next moon ritual prayer and application ceremony will occur on the next new moon, which is Friday, December the 19th. That location is 710 Cluid Street, and the time is 6:30 p.m. The ritual is in the ritual space of spiritual warfare for the present political climate that we live in. This Saturday, the 13th of December at 6:30 p.m., we have a Gede ceremony. And that location is 3319 Rosalie Alley, New Orleans, Louisiana. It's between Cluid and Desire in the Bywater area. I say, lest we forget, The spiritual medicine of voodoo brings healing and relief from the shackles of slavery that binds the master and the slave to the same chain of social division. We have to continue to work on that social division. And with that, I say, ashe, ashe, ashe. Good night, everyone in the collective audience. Good night, esteemed panel. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Odabo.
Look.
This is the train ride from Memphis to Chicago, the more than 10-hour train trip from Tennessee to Illinois. You will experience it on Amtrak City of New Orleans. A train route runs between Chicago, Illinois, and New Orleans, Louisiana, with a distance of approximately 900 miles. The route offers diverse scenery, from the Mississippi River to the rural landscapes of the southern United States and bustling urban areas like Chicago and New Orleans. The entire journey will last about 19 hours. And don't forget to check your tickets for this journey. This is the train ride from Memphis to Chicago.
Please, allow me to show you something.
They say I'm crazy and that might be true. I got this white in my DNA, yeah, I'm coming for you. It's time we turn the table, strip these motherfuckers on you. I wanna see you hanging from trees, it's time you pay for your dirt and your showtime. You created the monster, you created the beast. Now all this savagery you just gon' reap. I'm coming home, daddy, to the plantation, and I'm taking the lives of everybody, including the children, on some Nat Turner. Oh, do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we bout to tear this motherfucker down. I met my girl Harriet at the gate. If you wanna know how she doing, yeah, she's straight. But she had one question: when we gon' get up? All that talking tough, yeah, we don't walk it tough. She got it locked and loaded, got that piece up on her side. She looked me in my eyes and said, "Meet you ready to ride?" Moving forward, you gotta use both eyes. Watch your front and watch your back. Keep your hands up on your gas. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. He sit at the table, but he don't order no bacon. He greet me in those words, assalamu alaikum. Got them glasses on his face and them waves in his head. He go by the name of Detroit Red. He looks me in my eye and says, you only get one try. Know that your biggest opposition will come from the inside. I know you wanna love them all, but don't even try, because they'll smile up in your face while plotting your demise. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down.